welcome to Going Mad. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Vanessa.
And today, we're bringing it back to true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa will be talking about the crazy freaking case that is the murder of Jerry Michael Williams. Mm-hmm. And then I will be talking about the murder of Phil Hartman, who I'm sure many people know who that is. As always, let us know if you have any crazy stories. Email us at goingmadpod@gmail.com, or send us a Facebook message or an Instagram message, or leave us some comments, or I don't know what else. Just you find a way. Just find a way to let us know. Just find a way, people. All right. Take it away, Vanessa.
Okay. Today I will be talking about the murder of Jerry Michael Williams. He liked to go by Michael, so that's why I'm going to reference him. He was born October 16th, 1969. This murder takes place on December 16th, year 2000. So he was only 31. And we are headed down to Florida for this story. Michael was a very good student in high school. He was active by playing football and being in different clubs. He also took an interest in duck hunting at a very young age. He attended college and got a job right away as a property appraiser. He met his wife Denise in high school and they got married in 1994. He was a hard-working man. He enjoyed the hobby of duck hunting in the mornings. He was also making pretty good money at his job, somewhere in the lines of $200,000 a year. So he's living a good life, you know. He's got a good job. He bought a nice house. He had his hobby. And he had a daughter in 1999. So in the year 2000, Michael got a $1 million life insurance policy. So he got this policy actually through an old childhood friend of Denise's. His name is Brian Winchester. Brian was actually had become best friends with Michael over the last few years. So let's get into December 16, 2000. So according to Denise, that Saturday morning, Michael woke up early and took his boat to go duck hunting at Lake Seminole. 12 o'clock rolls around and Michael's still not home. So Denise calls her father. But it's actually Brian and Brian's dad who goes out to look for him. When they get to the lake, it's like the normal lake that he usually goes to duck hunt. They find his truck, and his boat was also found on the lake, but Michael was not in it. So a huge search started. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission was searching the entire lake. They also searched the bottom of the lake. There was no body that was found. On the boat, Michael's shotgun was still in the case, which when I read that, to me, I thought that was kind of suspicious. Like, because once you get out in the water, you think you would take your gun out of the case to be ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, I would also think you're in water and guns don't mix. And so you would probably want to keep it protected until you're actually, like, actively hunting.
That's true. I don't know anything about duck hunting, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, most people have, which is, I don't know, to me it's weird that he's in a boat to duck hunt. Like, for me, any duck hunting I've ever seen has been people on the ground and then, or in a duck blind or something, and then they have a retriever, you know.
No, I've seen duck hunters on the lake. They have this special little thing on their boats, I think. I should have looked this up, but yeah, I think that's a pretty common way to.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if people duck hunt that way. I've only ever seen it the one way, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
I'm not a hunter. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think about looking into that, but I'm pretty sure that's a common way. But anyways, so after the long search, they believed he had fallen out of his boat and drowned. They believed his body would float to the surface within 3 to 7 days. But 10 days later, still no body, but Michael's hunting hat was found. So Michael wasn't actually the only known death to this lake. Actually, at the time, 80 deaths have been happening.
Holy crap.
Yeah, without bodies. And
Wow.
this is because it was known that this lake was full of alligators. So it was believed Michael's body was caught in underwater. He drowned, and then the alligators got most of his body, and then turtles and catfish could have finished off the rest of his body. So only a day after the search had ended, Denise arranged a service for him. She was able to cash out a nice $1.5 million life insurance policy. About 6 months later, in June, a fisherman actually found a hunting jacket, a flashlight, and Michael's hunting license. All of this stuff was actually in good shape. There was no teeth marks, no damage, and it actually looked like this stuff had not been in the water for that long. And so this was about 6 or 7 months later, they find this stuff, but it doesn't look like this stuff has been in the water that long. So that kind of raised some suspicion.
Yeah, I was wondering how much longer after that had happened that they found all that. So
yeah, about
6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Denise still had Michael declared legally dead. And then 5 years later, Denise actually marries Brian, the best friend of Michael, and the man who also got him those life insurance policies. So that kind of raised some eyebrows there.
Suspicious.
But back to it, before this. At the time, though, Michael's mother did not believe the story of him drowning and the alligators getting his body. He was known not to go duck hunting alone. So that's a big red flag there.
Yeah.
As she proceeded to do some research on her own, she was actually finally able to get some researchers back on the case. They found many things suspicious about the case, but the main thing that they found was very wrong was the alligators. Because the alligators did not feed during winter months. And the water temp when Michael went missing was around 46 degrees. So alligators would not have been active at that time or at that temperature. So his body should have been found, basically.
Yeah.
But there are no other leads. They were stuck, They didn't know what else could have happened. So 2006 is actually when it became a cold case. And then Denise and Brian's marriage actually ends up violent, and Brian ends up going to jail. And this part, to me, is where it gets a little blurry. I was trying to do some research. It was a little fuzzy about these details, but I believe that part of Brian's his plea deal about these violent charges that he had against Denise, he actually talks about Michael's death. Because they end up finding Michael's body around a shoreline after digging it up. So it looked like homicide. Denise was then arrested. Dun, dun, dun. I believe because there was a lot of charges against him, Brian, against Denise. Like he had a gun out on her and he ended up kidnapping her and all this stuff. So I
Holy
think,
shit.
Yeah, I think he kind of came clean, and that's how they knew where to look for the body. And that's why Denise was arrested. Like I said, a lot of details were under wraps about this. Denise was charged with first-degree murder. Denise had allegedly conspired with Brian 9 months before Michael's disappearance to get rid of him, basically, and to get the life insurance policies so Brian and Denise can be together. And it was said that Brian did confess to shooting Michael and to be with Denise, basically. And so Denise was actually sentenced to life in prison for, the conspiracy of getting rid of her husband to be with Brian and to get some money.
Money aside, but still, I will never understand why people kill other people to end a marriage or end a relationship. Right. It's like, it's so much easier to be like, peace, I'm leaving.
I feel like
why kill someone?
Right. I feel like I see a lot of those stories that either because they're religious and can't get divorced, and that blows my mind. So you kill them? That's not, That's worse. That's not better. That's worse. Just leave. Don't kill.
Right. Like,
That's my new saying.
It's weird. Just leave. Don't kill.
Okay, that's bad. We should not laugh.
Just leave. Don't kill. Yeah. I'll never, and even for, like, I'm not saying I understand why they did it, but I get why they did it.
Because
the money thing. Yeah, like, obviously this guy was like, hey, I'm going to sell your husband a life insurance policy for $1 million.
Right.
And then we'll kill him and get the money and live happily ever after.
Yeah.
No, stop.
You're going to get caught.
Right.
And
like,
how do you
it just
live with
blows my
yourself?
mind. Right. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I remember hearing this story, and the mom was like a huge help as to solving the murder, because she just didn't, like, she kept pushing the police.
She pushed.
Yes, like, this was a murder. There's no way he just fell off the boat. There's no way that happened. So good on her, man. Good on her.
Mom's
for pushing.
intuition.
Seriously. Good God.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Well, fun story. Not really.
Well,
Sorry,
not
nervous
really.
laughter. Anywho, so I'm going to be talking about Phil Hartman. So if you don't know who Phil Hartman was a comedian. He was well known, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but he was, well known for things like Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons, and he's really well known for his Bill Clinton impression that he did on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Yeah, so Phil Hartman was born on September 24th, 1948 in Ontario, Canada. He was the fourth of 8 children, so dang, a lot of kids there.
Yeah.
When he was 10 years old, his family moved to the U.S. And he kind of, from what I could see, lived all over. I know they originally moved to the East Coast, though. So, well, like I said, they kind of moved all over. When he was 27, he joined the comedy group, the Groundlings. So the Groundlings is, it's a group, I believe the Groundlings, there's another one out there. There's like 2. I think there's one in kind of Chicago area, and then there's one in California. And I believe this is the one in California, but I don't know for sure. I should have looked into that. Anyways, the Groundlings is just a comedy troupe that have actually brought a lot of famous people to Saturday Night Live, because it's like an improv comedy thing. So by 1979, he was one of the main stars in the Groundlings. This really kind of skyrocketed his career. He ended up helping develop the character of Pee Wee Herman with Paul Reubens, who was also... Paul Reubens is the guy who played Pee Wee. And Paul Reubens was also another Groundlings member. So, like I said, he helped develop the character of Pee Wee Herman, and he appeared on the show a number of times. After this, he kind of went on to be a voice actor in a couple of different projects, like he was on The Smurfs, he was in Scooby-Doo, and more famously, The Simpsons. After appearing in some of the films and TV shows and stuff, he ended up auditioning for Saturday Night Live in 1986 and was successful and became part of the cast. Like I said, he was known for his Bill Clinton impression, but was also known for the anal retentive chef and the unfrozen caveman lawyer. So, some of his recurring characters. He was also known for his impressions for Ronald Reagan, Frank Sinatra. There was another, Ed McMahon, I think, is one of his famous ones. So he was a very good impressionist. Hartman ended up leaving Saturday Night Live in 1994 after many of the co-stars departed, and I believe it was like John Lovitz had left. Like, there were a number of really well-known people that had left Saturday Night Live around that time. And so he said he felt, quote, like an athlete who's watched all his World Series teammates get traded off into other directions. It was hard to watch them leave because I sort of felt we were all part of the team that saved the show, end quote. As I stated earlier, he was a voice actor for many characters on The Simpsons for a really long time. He Started on the show in 1991 and kept going until he died in 1998. He appeared in 52 episodes and was, like I said, brought in during their second season. My husband loves the Phil Hartman characters on The Simpsons. He loves The Simpsons in general, but he specifically always points out, that's Phil Hartman. Hey, that's Phil Hartman. Hey, that's Phil Hartman. Because he played a lot of people. He had a couple of recurring people on The Simpsons. Like one of them was a lawyer guy. He has a distinct voice. Like, I'm sure if I played his voice to you, you would be like, oh, I totally know who that is.
Okay. He
has a very, like, recognizable voice. So Hartman ended up marrying Bryn Omdahl in 1987 after he had met her on a blind date the previous year. The couple had 2 children together, but the marriage was not great. She was basically just jealous and intimidated by his success and just really frustrated that she couldn't get any on her own. But the couple basically refused to get a divorce. This was Phil Hartman's 3rd wife, and so I'm sure he was just like, I don't want to get divorced again. Mm-hmm. She was reported to have been really jealous and often kind of verbally and physically abusive. And she actually sent his ex-wife threatening letters stating that she was going to rip her eyes out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. If she had spoken to Phil again. Phil kind of tried to go through, he was like, well, maybe I should retire, maybe focus on the marriage. And, by this point, Hartman was pretty well known, so he could have retired. Mm-hmm. Hartman tried to get Bryn into acting roles, but she just became more reliant on narcotics and alcohol. And she went to rehab a couple of times. On multiple occasions, he had to take the children out of the house to either stay with friends or family because of her outbursts that she would have while she was either drunk and or high. So he had a really close friendship with a Saturday Night Live associate named Jan Hooks. Bryn apparently had joked on occasion that Hooks and Hartman were married on some other level. So I'm guessing work wife, like people say, this is my work wife. I'm guessing that's kind of what she was referring to. And Bryn had actually written a threatening letter to Hooks, warning her not to get too close to her husband, but they never were sent because they were discovered in her belongings after her death, after Bryn's death. So on May 27th, 1998, Bryn was at a Italian restaurant with a producer and writer, Christine Zander, who said that at the time she seemed to be in a good frame of mind. After returning home, Bryn had a heated argument with Phil, and after that he went to bed. She went into the bedroom around 3 a.m. and fatally shot Phil, once between the eyes, once in the throat, and once in the upper chest with a .38 caliber handgun. Yeah, she was pissed. She's like, no. He was 49 years old at the time of his death. So it was reported that she had been taking Zoloft and had been drinking and using cocaine that day. So definitely drug induced. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bryn ended up driving to the home of her friend and basically confessed to killing Phil. Initially, her friend did not believe her, but the two of them drove back to the house in separate cars, and she called another friend and confessed again. And upon seeing Hartman's body, the original friend called 911 at 6:20 a.m. Police arrived and escorted the friend and the 2 children. The 2 children were there this entire time.
Oh my God.
Side note. Yeah. So police escorted the friend and the 2 children off the premises. By this time, though, Bryn had locked herself in the bedroom and ended up committing suicide.
Wow.
Yeah. So Craziness. Freaking craziness.
Mm-hmm.
LAPD stated that Hartman's death was caused by basically just a, domestic dispute between the couple. There was a friend that had said Bryn had issues. She had anger issues. And sometimes she got attention that way. A neighbor of the Hartmans told CNN that, it was the couple had problems. Like, it was very clear that the couple had problems. But actor friends of Hartman, like Steve Guttenberg, if you know who that is, he had said that they seemed like they were a very happy couple, and that they always seemed to be pretty well put together. So, well, I think they were very good at faking it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes you can just fake it.
They were very good at faking it. Before the killing of Hartman, Bryn had been taking Zoloft once again, which is an antidepressant. A wrongful death lawsuit was filed in 1999 by her brother against Pfizer, who is the drug manufacturer.
Oh.
And against her child psychiatrist, who had provided the samples of Zoloft to Bryn.
Well,
so that's fun.
Did they win? Yeah. He didn't win, did he?
I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, because she was on other stuff too. Like,
yeah,
you can't just blame.
Right. I don't think that he won.
Okay.
I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, there's just no, like, you can't sit there and say, oh, the Zoloft made her do it. No.
Right. No.
She was drinking a lot. She was doing drugs. Like, no, she was just a psycho. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Whoops.
She might have been a lovely person, but, she also killed her husband.
She had some problems. She had some problems.
She clearly had some problems.
Just leave, don't kill.
Yes. That's the theme of this week's episode.
Yes.
Just leave, don't kill.
Uh-huh.
Okay, anywho. So Hartman's friend and former colleague, John Lovitz, accused Hartman's co-star, Andy Dick. I'm sure you know who Andy Dick is.
Who's that?
Oh my God, Vanessa.
I'm terrible with names.
Okay, I'm going to show you pictures of these people after we're done. Because they're all, like, really well, like, they were super popular in the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you know who John Lovitz is?
Is that the guy? No, who is it?
Oh, good. Have you seen The Wedding Singer?
Yeah. I love that movie.
Okay, he's in that. He's the other guy that they, like, Julia, when she's looking at wedding bands, he's one of the wedding bands that she sees. He's, like, he's bigger, and he has a really, like, distinct voice, and he's got, I don't know. I'll just show you pictures later.
Okay.
Anywho. John Lovitz accused Andy Dick of reintroducing Bryn to cocaine, which then caused her to relapse and suffer nervous breakdowns.
Okay.
Dick claims to have known nothing of her condition. Lovitz later said that he no longer blamed Andy Dick for Hartman's murder, but then, drama, in 2006, Lovitz claimed that Dick had approached him at a restaurant and said, quote, "I put the Phil Hartman hex on you. You're the next one to die." End quote.
Whoa.
Yeah. They have a, like, very, like, famous feud.
Yeah, you shouldn't say stuff like that.
No, you shouldn't. But it gets worse.
Okay.
So Lovitz then had him ejected from the restaurant that they were at.
Mm-hmm.
The following year, Lovitz and Andy Dick were both at the Laugh Factory, which is a comedy club in LA. Mm-hmm. And they had an argument. And then Lovitz slammed Andy Dick's head into the bar.
Oh my God.
Physical altercations. So Andy Dick stands by the fact that he was not at fault for Hartman's death, but I disagree. I don't necessarily think he was directly at fault, but he was indirectly fueling the flame, I think.
Yeah, okay.
You know? That. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think he was... I don't know. I personally don't like Andy Dick very much. I think he's kind of a garbage person. But, I don't know him. He could be a great guy. I don't know. This is just from what I've seen,
Yeah.
Gotta love that media. Bryn's sister, Catherine, and brother-in-law, Mike, raised the 2 children. Hartman's will stipulated that each child would inherit money over several years after they turned 25. The total value of Hartman's estate was estimated at about $1.23 million. His body was cremated by a mortuary in Glendale, California, and his ashes were scattered over the Santa Catalina Islands.
Oh.
So, yeah. So that's that story. I always, Nate, like I said, my husband's a big fan of Phil Hartman, which to me, I didn't realize that he had died.
Oh.
Yeah.
When did he die?
And so,
you said
98.
1998. Wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that he had died until, Nate had told me, oh yeah, his wife killed him. I'm like, wait, what? And this was like a couple years ago. And I'm like, wait a second. He's dead? And he goes, yeah, his wife shot him. And I'm like, what the fuck? So then I look into it, and I'm like, holy crap.
That's a crazy story.
This is a crazy-ass story. And it's crazy to me. Once again, just leave, people. Just leave. If you're in a bad marriage, just leave. Yes, don't kill. Just leave. Just get out of there. You don't need to kill people.
Yeah, and if you have some issues like she did, find some help.
Yes, well, and I think
cocaine.
Right. I think she tried to find help, and then Andy Dick came in and reintroduced her to cocaine. And
yeah, don't give people cocaine. Sounds like a terrible idea.
Moral of the story: don't do drugs.
Yeah,
drugs make you do wacky things.
Kill.
And don't kill people.
Just leave.
Don't kill. Leave. Just leave. Don't kill.
Preach it.
Yes. Preach. So anyways, that's what I got for you. That my
good.
sad story of Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So, I hope you guys learned something this week. Do not do drugs. Leave your husbands. Okay.
/ wives. I mean,
or try to work it out. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We're not here to tell you what to do, but just don't kill people.
Yeah, that's what we are saying, though. Don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
But that wraps it up for this week, guys. I hope you had a good time listening to this. I hope you guys, hit us up. Facebook, Instagram. Email us at goingmadpod@gmail.com. Let us know if you guys have any weird stories, crazy stories, or if there's topics you want us to talk about. We will listen. We will email you back probably, hit you up. We might chit-chat a little bit. We're here to please is what we say. Yep. Just let us know, and we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.